First ban Olaf. That's how I know that we're off. We're off to a mistake. But whatever. Now, it should be noted that I'm not actively following these players' champion pools. Camille ban is standard. Enemy should respond here with what? Zyra or what? Okay, I can see Elise, I guess. Alright, now Team Liquid, Rengar, or LeBlanc. You're not going to give Bjergsen LeBlanc, and you shouldn't, yep, okay. You should not give Svenskeren and Rengar. The audio should not be low. They ban Rek'Sai. Okay, so the triple ban sent over to Team Liquid. And this is a little bit of an awkward scenario because now TSM, there's a few problems with this draft. Well, it's not necessarily problematic. Again, I guess I don't have enough information. It seems that TSM did get under the skin of Team Liquid though. Syndra. What? Snap pick Rengar? What is wrong with you? Who does their pick bans for Team Liquid? Oh, that's right, Saint. Right? Or is the strategy? I don't know. It's not him. Okay, so they trade Rengar for Mal's. I mean, that's the obvious trade that's going to occur. And then they pick their jungler. That's pretty standard. I think that's fine. So we have Kha'Zix versus Rengar in the jungle. And so now TSM responds with Ashe MF. Ashe MF? Ashe MF. Ashe MF. Alternatively, Jin MF. Jin MF or Jin Zyra are both viable, depending on what the certain champion pools are. They take Ryze. Cass is open, and Orianna's open, and Bjergsen's probably just saying to himself that... Like, so, in a really high-level setting right here, I think that the Ryze pick at this point in time is not that great. Especially because you can let them walk into it. You can let them walk into picking the Ryze, and obviously Bjergsen is going to be able to fucking butcher someone up on Orianna or Cassio. So they do take the Zyra, so it's not the Misfortune. And the problem with this is that now you can't change up your bans in the second ban phase. So one of the things here is if they don't predict Team Liquid to respond with the mid laner, then one of the things that they can do is they can take Ryze, and then in the second ban phase, they can actually ban Cass Ori. And then it puts a lot of pressure on Golden Glue, because Rainover has already selected his jungler, but it seems like they did tunnel him in on Kha'Zix. Okay, so now we enter into the second ban phase. Fiora. What? Okay. They have Red Varus available to them. Maokai gets banned. Don't know about the Maokai ban here though. It's a little bit suspicious. It's a blue side Maokai. Pretty, or not a blue side, it's a red side Maokai. Pretty difficult to actually coordinate with Kha'Zix. And then they ban Jace. What? Like, there's too many gears available for TSM right now, and those two bans by Team Liquid make absolutely no sense. Because now what ends up happening is, well, the one thing though is that you do force, well, one of the things that they could be thinking here is they force tank first, tank top, and then they go red side Varus. That's legitimately the only thing I can be thinking of. The problem with that though is if they go Poppy here, TSM can respond with Singed. In which case it's not really tank versus tank because it's fucking Singed. The other problem with that is the way that they respond with Singed is also probably with Ashe. So it's probably Ashe Singed or it's Ashe Jhin. No matter what, that setup is going to give TSM the highest chance at shutting down a red side Varus. And this is something that I talked about on stream before. Again, I'm not really knowledgeable about what champions these players. Okay, yeah, you picked Nautilus. What? Okay. They could take Varus away. They could take Varus away. Even though blue side Varus isn't like as strong, they can definitely take Varus away here because the enemy team has so much direct engagement. They have so much committance. I don't think that you really need to go Ashe here. Obviously, Ashe Zyra is pretty powerful, and it does force Team Liquid's bottom lane to be on their feet, but I feel like Team Liquid always responds here with Varus. Well, the correct response is to always respond with Varus, but we've already established that the way that this pick phase unfolds, there's a lot of errors from both sides. Assuming, like, I'm approaching this from the angle of what I expect teams to be capable of doing. Okay, so now they do go tank versus tank top, but I feel like that's actually a scenario where, yeah, okay, and they do lock in Red Varus, okay. It is tank versus tank top, but Rengar and Poppy should actually be able to find a way to penetrate the Nautilus. Isn't Lorlo supposedly known for his Nautilus? I don't actually know. Okay. This is a pretty standard setup. This is also one of the problems that I had with the Ryze pick, is if you know that you're eventually going to get to this stage of Ashe LeBlanc, I don't think that you need to pick the Ryze, because if you can delay it until the second pick in ban phase, then you can actually ban Cassie Ori, and one of two things can end up occurring. Either Golden Glue picks it instead of Nautilus in top lane, and then even though Bjergsen may not have the best matchup in mid lane, it's still probably going to be fine because you know that you're funneling them into that, in which case you should actually be more prepared than they are. Alternatively, if they don't pick it and they do elect with the Nautilus, then you get the Ryze anyway. And you get it at a safer time, where you did ban away the Orianna and the Cassio, in which case Golden Glue is under a lot more pressure. All in all, both team compositions are actually pretty even. But if we assume skill discrepancies between the team, then TSM should have a very big edge. Red side Varus is just so disgusting, though. Red Varus, Red Malice. Holy shit. It's so difficult. You basically need to see Spirit-esque Rengar shenanigans. Basically using the ultimate, the On the Hunt or whatever, to act as a temporary map hack in order to get people in and out of the jungle. Gonna move forward. All right. First dragon of the game's Infernal Drake. It's really big for both teams. So, I mean, if we talk about the lane matchups, Poppy is basically immune up in top lane, so they can't do anything about Poppy. And Lorlo is going to be hard-pressed to make anything happen. And in terms of the Rengar versus Kha'Zix on the top side and on the left side River, Svenskeren is going to have the edge in that regard. Additionally, Reignover is only going to have the edge over Svenskeren levels like 3 through 5 in terms of right side River, and then once Wild Turtle and Bifrost hit 6, then control goes back over to TSM, including their jungler. So Team Liquid has to be extremely careful, because this is basically a Red Varus gambit where they're going to concede a lot in order to get to that stage of the game where their tank top laner can try to stall against Poppy, and then from there they delay out the game. And they get Malzahar to 3 items, they get Cassie to 6, and then they get Varus. They get Varus up. So now Svenskeren and Reignover are rating each other pretty okay. The thing though is that right now, we just talked about how this normally should have been a pretty beneficial timing for a reign over, but it's not. He actually goes red wraiths, and then he goes over to blue. And I would argue that this actually makes him fall behind. Because now he's basically forced to do Gromp, and if he doesn't do Gromp, then his route gets skewed. Okay, he does go and do Gromp, yep. And now Svenskeren responds by doing Golems. Pretty standard route. The problem is, though, is that Svenskeren gets the better end of this trade because of the Golem trade. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, they're going to begin to go under a lot of pressure, and the other thing that this actually does is now TSM knows that they're gank immune for at least 2 minutes. At least 2 minutes and 2.5, or 2 minutes to like 3 minutes. They know that they don't have to worry about anything, which enables them to be a lot more conservative in terms of resources. And so now Svenskeren will be able to match Rengar, or Svenskeren will be able to match Kha'Zix on the left-hand side of the map. And now if he matches him, Reignover intelligently actually goes for the Scuttle Crab first. And this will basically let him keep tabs on Svenskeren. This is actually really, really important. This is a very crucial time. Shouldn't go up to top. Holy shit, Hanser, what are you doing? Oh my god, Hanser might... What the fuck? This, not like this. Oh my god, Hanser should never fucking be able to get ganked right here. Wait, hold on. What is the HP on that ward? Wait a second. Wait a minute. He just placed the ward, and now Reignover's moving up. Did we not just miss the fact that Reignover showed in River against Svenskeren with 7 CS? Did we not miss that? Did Svenskeren not tell Hanser that Wraiths are down and Reignover doesn't have blue? What the hell do you think his route is? His route is either this. Okay, his route is either this, or it's this. What the fuck does this do? Doesn't do anything. Blasting Plant's still up. Really bad miscommunication. And the lane was even shoving into Lorlo. Hanser could have surrendered 1 or 2 CS in order to get a better ward that would give him more intel, and then he would be able to conserve his flash there. Svenskeren and TSM should have been able to get really, really, really far ahead, but now they actually fell slightly behind. Because now, suddenly, Kha'Zix actually gets the better end of the trade. Because while Svenskeren is tunneled into this, so even though Svenskeren won out on the initial jungle route, now Svenskeren has to go to Gromp, and then he has no response after Gromp, whereas Reignover is now able to do this bing, 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 bing. And then after this bing, it becomes a little bit difficult to predict because you don't know the exact timing that he's going to go for all these things. And you don't know how he's going to transition out of this because he had the jump up on you in terms of Scuttle Crab on the left side river. And this also is problematic because it would probably be around the time where if he's going to move into the right-hand side of the jungle, it's going to be when Wild Turtle and Bifrost are most likely recalling, giving him enough ample time to continue to farm up and then return to the lane to try to coordinate a gank when Wild Turtle and Bifrost are trying to secure some sort of vision in order to get wards down that would protect them from Reignover. And there's a pretty real opportunity for Team Liquid to get summoner advantage. Okay. High variance gank. High variance gank, very cheesy. Lorlo sniffs it out. Or maybe actually they saw him. I didn't look at the minimap when he went up. I don't think that they saw him. Now you see Wild Turtle and you see Bifrost. What are they doing? Don't let me see you place a ward. Don't let me see it. Don't do it. Well, Svenskeren, you're not doing your job. You're not telling them where Reignover is. And I feel like this is ultra simple. His route was obvious. Because when he showed in top lane, he never took any lane CS. Never took fucking any. In which case, you can see the duration of his blue buff. You can then calculate that, you know, it takes him X seconds to move from blue buff to Gromp to Wolves, which you know that he took because it's inside of his CS score. In which case, you then know that he recalled. Or not necessarily that he recalled, but you then know that he moves out back onto the map. and then he shows up at Scuttle Crab, he gets the Scuttle Crab, you know that he took the Scuttle Crab because you can factor that into the CS, in which case you're able to pinpoint down his next routes. None of that would ever entertain the need to have those kind of awards inside of the blue jungle. Waste of time. Since Garen's on top of ward right now. Double longsword versus red smite. So here comes the timing where Wild Turtle and Biofrost are probably going to recall, and this is where Rainover's jungle camps are actually going to respawn soon. So he's going to be able to clear them. Piglet and Matt recall. By the time he's finished clearing them, he actually clears Scuttle Crab. This is bad by him. He should not clear Scuttle before clearing Gromp and Wolves because of the nature of their team comps. This isn't good. It's a mistake. And if you do kill the Scuttle Crab, then you give up all sort of tempo control. Because now you see that he moves into the left-hand side jungle. Maybe what they're trying to think of is ganking bottom, but this is why Svenskaren comes out ahead in this trade. It's because he's able to line himself up again to get golems. What are you doing right here? So you pull Rain over mid to share XP. Really like what Bjergsen just did. Yep, and now you punish Golden Glue. You punish Golden Glue and you keep Rainover on a leash. Because now, well, I don't know what Rainover is doing. He shouldn't eat wolves. Should not eat wolves. He should have just stayed at mid. The gold value of the mid CS is more. Nope. Now when you show up again, you gave away that you just did your wolves. In which case, if Svenskaren's paying attention and he's calculating your CS, now they know that all that you have is blue, Gromp, and red. You have blue, Gromp, red, wraiths, and golems. Becomes really easy to keep a leash on you. Very big mistake doing the wolf camp. Now they're going to hand over the blue to Bjergsen. Really good timing here. Rainover gets red. But you see the problem is he gets red, but the XP clear is a little bit inefficient. So now Matt's moving up, and he's looking to, I guess, just get vision control because he doesn't have level 6. If he had level 6, then this would be different. Because then they could have plays where Rainover roots down and they try to make plays onto Bjergsen because he doesn't have Ghost. Don't like the angle of the Ash Arrows. I feel like they could be a lot better. I feel like checking the left side jungle is infinitely more valuable than checking the right side jungle here. And the reason that I say that is because of Haunster's proximity to the turret and what it would mean for Kha'Zix to actually be on the right-hand side of the map, especially considering Svenskaren already handed over the blue buff and it can be assumed that there is no left-hand side jungle. So I don't really understand the hawk shot. Okay, so they have a trade. Svenskaren just gets level 7. He takes the wraiths, and now they're going to hand over the blue to Golden Glue. But before he's able to go into the blue, this is excellent by Bjergsen. He knows that this is going to try to be the blue handoff timing, which is why Golden Glue is expending all his mana trying to get the wave. And what this is doing is, yep, look, see the handoff timing? Big mistake. Big mistake. Golden Glue did not convey to Rainover that this is a bad time to hand off the blue. And at the same time, you have to know that Svenskaren can't actually come into your blue. Even though the enemy bottom lane has push initiative, that doesn't actually do anything. Because it's a lot scarier for Piglet and Matt to be inside of their own jungle than it is for Wild Turtle and Biofrost to try to invade it. Really over-aggressive gank. Very high variance. Rainover responds accordingly. They know that they have the blue buff on Cassiopeia, and so Golden Glue comes down to kill the Infernal Drake. Matt can obviously make the cutoff, and there's no way for Wild Turtle and Biofrost to react. So, bad macro decisions yet again. Now Bjergsen's actually under a lot of pressure. He has to play on the left-hand side pocket of the lane. Yep, he'll be able to get that CS though. He's doing so great in terms of CS. Excellent, excellent player. That's really painful for Team Liquid to actually give that away. Svenskeren on the left-hand side again. And we can see that his route is better than Reignover's. Because now Reignover's route has to be this. It has to either be top, into scuttle, into fail, or what ends up being is, depending on like timers here, it goes top, into scuttle, into right side jungle, into move into right side jungle transition. The problem with the transition though is that he would be two steps behind Rengar. Rengar could be here or here, depending on how he chooses to clear out the jungle. And the other problem with this is you notice that Wild Turtle and Bifrost are actually coming back to the lane. So the way that Svenskeren ends up rooting now is really, really good for him and his team, especially because of the time at which Haunter returns to top lane. And the fact that Haunter has teleport and Haunter has flash. So it's extremely unlikely for Lorlo or Reignover to find any value on the left-hand side of the map. And the other problem with this is that Bjergsen's going to be able to have dictatorship over mid lane, and he can end up playing in the right-hand pocket, which he knows is going to be extremely safe because he has Svenskeren right to his right, and they know that Kha'Zix has no business being on the right-hand side. I think that in a meta right now, especially with junglers that are so passive and don't understand, exactly like how to work in the current groove of the jungler meta and how to move around the jungle, which they will in time. I think that counting CS is enormous. It is so important right now to count CS, because it literally just lets you map hack against the enemy jungler. And if you're as good of a jungler as like Svenskeren or Reignover, then you know where people have to be. Now you see that Reignover is making a pretty high variance play. Svenskeren right here. Able to get out. The coordination right there from TSM's a little bit bad, but not the end of the world. Now Wild Turtle and Bifrost move in because they know that the next route for Reignover to do is going to include the right-hand side jungle. I don't think that Matt knows that this is coming. They get a ward on his Gromp, and now Reignover's fucked. So he's been constantly taking pretty high variance decisions, and he's been handshaking them. It's really sad to see. Okay, so now right here, Golden Glue actually has temporary pressure. The blue handoff is going to end up occurring. I don't actually know what Bjergsen's gold is at, but if he's going to actually hand off the blue and accept it, then he must not be in position to get Roa unless he's going to get Roa after the blue and then try to recall. But I don't really like that because it's a bit inefficient on the buff's duration. Rengar now recalls, and I like that they were trying to synergize Haunter's recall with it. Because Haunter's recall at this point in time with Rengar recalling, if Haunter does recall and they let the lane get shoved back in by Lorlo and Haunter moves up to top lane, then Rengar can actually move on to the right-hand side of the map where they know that they're going to have control in mid lane because they just handed the blue buff over to the Bjergsen. And what can end up happening as long as Bifrost and Wild Turtle stay relatively healthy, you can notice that they actually have a pretty good ward right here. And then they also have control ward control. So if Rengar actually moves down into his red, eats the red, and then comes bottom with Haunter, you can actually have a lot of chaos in bottom lane. Especially if you have Bjergsen wave clear in mid and then move through the river. Although he would be spotted out and it would give it away. I feel like it would assert a lot of pressure. But instead you have Svenskeren actually move up, and I don't know what they're actually thinking here. I don't know what they're thinking. Holy shit. Okay. Okay. See, immediately after Wild Turtle finishes this, he hawk shots the blue side jungle, but they have to know that Kha'Zix is on the top left. Kha'Zix is CS is easy to read. This trade was really interesting. They were clearly not on the same page. We can actually watch this again. Ultis, Matt stunned, Matt flashes out. Matt should never come back in. Matt should never ult. He should never ult. Never ult. Just run. Take the L. Just take the L and run. That's all that Matt should have done there. Tried to be a little bit too aggressive. So now TSM's team composition isn't really doing what it needs to. It needs to have a very explosive mid game, but we're still not yet at the point where it's going to be able to do that. They really need to make use of Ryze getting his Roa, Ryze getting his tier 2 boots, and then when Ashe completes run on Hurricane. Unless she actually just goes into Essence Reaver first item while holding the Zeal. That would be pretty intriguing. I do like, though, that Wild Turtle got the call. I think it's a really wise decision. Yeah, Matt's going to die, and Bjergsen's right there to pick up on Matt. And so now, after this happens, you can see that Golden Glue... So now, the obvious rotations here is that Kha'Zix probably has to come around like this, or he has to do something like that. Golden Glue is probably going to play on the left-hand side of the lane and try to shove in the lane. Varus is actually under a lot of pressure because if TSM wants to, they can concede mid-turret pressure because Kha'Zix can't make decisions blindly. So Kha'Zix has to come into the jungle. If he does come into the jungle, then you also know that Piglet doesn't have any summoner spells, so you can actually just 4-man bottom, even if you're warded. You just kill it. If Reignover then tries to turn his attention to mid lane, then you can actually just have Haunter teleport to mid lane, because if you kill Varus, then you're going to get first blood turret in bottom lane, and after you get first blood turret in bottom lane, then you're probably going to end up getting Cloud Drake. Cloud Drake is actually really important for TSM's team composition because in the later stages of the game, when Team Liquid tries to begin to execute the Varus stall, what's going to end up happening is Svenskaren and Haunter really need to coordinate proper vision control over the right-hand side jungle of Team Liquid, and they need to find ways to execute Lorlo in the side lane split push against Poppy, where he's trying to resist it. And then using the Cloud Drake, it enables Rengar to actually reposition if Team Liquid tries to go for a quick little Baron sneak or a quick Baron counter to Lorlo's death. So that's basically it. So we have a few potential rotations here. One is Golden Glue goes like this. He stays on the left-hand side of the lane. He pushes in the minion wave, and then he has 6 minions to try to do some damage to the turret. Again, Reignover can't make decisions blindly. It's not like he can actually just go with Reignover and assume that TSM is going to go on to the bottom right-hand side of the map. Matt is dead. Piglet doesn't have any summoners, as I just mentioned, and so it becomes extremely easy for them to actually just go down and kill him underneath his tower. Even if he has ultimate, trading 1 life for getting Varus, denying him CS, denying him all the gold in bottom, and then getting first blood turret is worth it. Lorlo is not in a position where he's going to be able to assault top lane turret and actually do any sort of formidable damage against it, in which case Haunter is able to use his teleport to mid lane if Reignover then decides that, okay, it's too late to actually get to Piglet, and then he tries to unite with Golden Glue in mid. Even in that case, the minion wave from the Nexus hasn't respawned yet, so they wouldn't actually be able to get the turret in mid, even though they can get some turret damage. Wait, what just happened? So after all this, they don't just go down and dive, which is really strange. They could have just beeline for Varus, and if they do it right, then they can just trade 1 member. 99% sure if they do it right, they can just trade 1 member, and Piglet dies. And then if Reignover tries to run down, then what ends up happening is you have a loop-de-loop, where you kill, you back up, Reignover's stuck. And then what ends up happening is Cass shoves in this minion wave, she does a little bit of turret damage, Lolo is fine up top, and then Kha'Zix is actually contained in bottom, and then you just have a perfect 4-1 recall. And then you go back and you allocate proper lane position. What? What the fuck just happened? Alright, game just froze. I don't know what just happened, I'm sorry. Huh? I don't know what that was. What the hell is going on with YouTube? This is where they get caught. Okay. All right. All right. Alright. So they don't do that. So now they actually just return Wild Turtle and Bifrost down to bottom. Piglet has Yumu's and he has Tyr. I don't really like the Yumu's. I do like the Monomune though. I don't think that he needs to necessarily go Yumu's. It's not super bad. It's not super bad. I know that he's going for the Yumu Monomune build, but I think that you can just go Monomune and then go a more standard. Because this is 7.1, not 7.2. It doesn't really matter that much. It's not going to cost them too much. They trade teleport for teleport. This benefits TSM here. Okay. Bjergsen in mid. He goes Roa into Merc Treads. This isn't the Korean style, and I think it's more so because he's up against Golden Glue. Although, I mean, it's obviously a standard build, right? But you can definitely build differently in this lane. But he's obviously not feeling a lot of pressure. If some people are wondering, then you can just hold Negatron Cloak, and then you can go Merc Treads with Tyr. But I don't think that he was ever really in a position where he needed to do something like that in order to wave off the lane phase. This is interesting. Rengar is down here. You can see that the timing was a little bit off, and Bjergsen does come down, and they get the kill. So a little bit sloppy, but nonetheless, they end up picking it up, and this is pretty good. And the only reason that Wild Turtle and Co. can't actually push this on further is primarily because they don't have any intel on Greenover. Now, one of the things that's interesting is that Svenskaren could actually push up this final wave, and he could make this minion wave go into the turret, and then it would end up causing a bounce for TSM. Okay, one of the things that he could be thinking about, oh, let me turn on Epic Pen, sorry. So there's a few things at hand right now, so let's go back to when those kills just happened in bottom. Okay. I don't know if Ash has Hawkshot. Let me see Ash. Because if she does, then this is really bad. Because it would enable what I just wanted to say. Fuck, it's not showing me. I don't know if Ash has Hawkshot. It's not showing me. Okay. So here's the thing. Let's say that hypothetically, Ashe has Hawkshot. All right. What she can do here is shoot Hawkshot. All right, and she can shoot it in a way that it shoots up and whatever, it passes through everything. If this ends up happening, then you see Kha'Zix, and if you do see Kha'Zix, then Wild Turtle and Bjergsen channel the recall. Okay. If you doesn't see Kha'Zix on the left-hand side, then it means that Kha'Zix is somewhere around here or like here, in which case Svenskeren would also then just back up a little bit more and then recall. If it does, again, now if it does see Kha'Zix on the left-hand side, then the problem is that Golden Glue and Reignover have a scenario in which they could actually try to go to coordinate one of the famous Chinese three-man top things. In which case you would have Reignover and you would have Golden Glue actually shove in mid lane, and then you would have them rotate through the blue side jungle. They would get vision control down inside of the blue side jungle via either trinkets, or if they have like green smite, which they don't in this case. And maybe even a control ward, whatever, just to get a little bit of intel on when they're going to exactly move through the jungle. And what that can do here is if Hauntzer doesn't react accordingly, then he can end up going down in top lane, and then they can back up with 3 in top. And what this will end up enabling is that when TSM goes to reset the lanes, they'll end up sending Ashe and Zyra into top lane. And if you're doing it right, then Team Liquid actually should be able to raise the top turret. So now Ashe and Zyra are going to go up to top lane, and then Hauntzer is going to go down to bottom lane. And if Hauntzer goes down to bottom lane now, then you're able to send Lorlo down to bottom again, and then you can have Piglet and Matt actually just go up to top lane to match TSM. So it's a little bit interesting of a rotation, but as long as Hauntzer is aware of it and the information is being conveyed to him of what could potentially happen, then it's pretty easy for him to just back up and not die to it. The person that actually comes to mind that was exceptionally well at doing this was actually Dyrus, just conceding wave after wave after wave because he knew that his teammates just picked up a huge victory elsewhere. So Svenskeren could push in the wave, and that's it. Oh, maybe they're actually going to do it. Maybe they're going to do it. Are they? And Hauntzer does? Yeah. Good. Impressive. Oh, and Lorlo intelligently backs up. And now... Okay. Now it's too late because Rengar and Wild Turtle and Bifrost are on the way. Okay. Alright. And now they're looking for a fight. Unlucky. They got the kill onto Kha'Zix. And so let's go back again and let's see this. So Golden Glue and Reignover just wasting a ton of time. They kill the blue trinket. They start to run away. What are you doing, Golden Glue? You really want that blue, huh? Yeah, so let's say that he gets this blue here. Let's say that he gets it. Let's assess his macro decision. So you have Matt and Piglet moving up to top lane, who have yet to successfully hand off with Lorlo, and now you're also compromising Lorlo in bottom lane because obviously this wave is going to now shove into Poppy, and Hauntzer is going to be able to execute a freeze. Meanwhile, you're going to have 2v2 up in top lane, which is already going to be disadvantageous because you know that Svenskeren's route now is going to entertain the left-hand side of the map, and Herald becomes a real possibility. Let's say that Golden Glue is able to kite this blue buff back all the way up to here, and he ends up killing the blue buff. It's obviously not going to be in time in order for Svenskeren to get up to here, and then if Bjergsen actually moves over here, then what ends up happening is Golden Glue is now zoned out of mid lane, which means that he's getting the blue buff, which is giving him X amount of gold, and then he's surrendering all the XP inside of mid lane. He's surrendering all of the minion gold inside of mid lane. And if Wild Turtle and Bifrost still have not yet made a decision, and they're actually at the point where they are right now, then you can actually just keep Hauntzer in top for one more wave. Or you can actually, or not Hauntzer, I'm sorry. You can have Svenskeren actually go up to top, and then you have Bjergsen end up zoning out Golden Glue, and then what's going to end up happening is you have Wild Turtle and Bifrost actually just go into mid lane, and you have Bjergsen just zone out Reignover and Golden Glue. From there, you should actually be able to raise the mid-tier 1 turret. You let Piglet and Matt actually attempt to kill the top tier 1 turret, although they're only going to have one minion wave to work with, so it's not really going to be that effective. Although this minion wave should actually probably go down given the fact that Matt doesn't have exhaust and he doesn't have ultimate, so Svenskeren should be relatively safe to kill this minion wave. What's going to end up happening here is the bottom lane is actually going to be in front of TSM's turret. They're going to have a really good lock for Poppy. They're going to be overextended in top lane. They're going to have inefficiency for Reignover on the left-hand side of the jungle. And the Cloud Drake is going to be basically irrelevant for both teams, except the initiative on Herald is going to go over to TSM. pause really quick. All right. So anyways, the thought process isn't really sound, although TSM doesn't react to it the best that they could have. They do end up picking up the kill onto Reignover, which isn't the end of the world. But after they pick up the kill on Reignover, I feel like the fact that they're continuing to posture and they're trying to dance is... this is basically something that you only do if you're trying to be greedy, because this is not a calculated macro decision. It's not slow. There is some degree of variance, and you're basically saying that I can out-muscle you mechanically, which isn't something that you need to do because you can put people in situations where they're willingly going to hang themselves. So after they actually kill Reignover, and they get Reignover down, okay, the immediate thought process here, Biofrost should stop coming up. And Biofrost and Wild Turtle should immediately beeline to mid lane. Because if they beeline to mid lane, then it doesn't matter because Matt's going to end up going like this. And if Matt goes like that, then Piglet also doesn't have any information yet until they begin to walk over the control ward. Piglet might then move down to mid lane, and he might end up getting tied up in mid lane. The problem is if he gets tied up in mid lane at this point in the game, it's going to be disadvantageous for their top lane, because we already talked about their bottom lane and what it's going to end up doing in bottom lane for TSM. What this does is it also takes away from Golden Glue. It basically denies some of his experience, his scaling, his gold, and it forces the two main carries, which are extremely important for Team Liquid's team composition, to be forced to share. And it creates such good opportunity for TSM's lanes. So they're being way too overeager here. Lolo actually misses the hook, and then you can see that they're actually continuing to keep pushing forward, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, congratulations, Wild Turtle, you got a kill right there, but the decision that you guys are even here is just really sad, because clearly Golden Glue doesn't need to actually keep walking forward. He doesn't need to get snared, and the damage foresight that's coming out of Team Liquid is just low. So yeah, you get rewarded, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty poor macro decision, and if you do this against higher level teams, then you're not going to find kills, and you're going to end up putting yourself in positions that are pretty bad. Or not necessarily bad, it's just less optimal. And this is something that TSM did very often in LCS Summer towards the end, and even in the Gauntlet, is they get these leads via mechanical outplay, and at the end of the day, it is very easy and obvious that there are better... Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why? Just why? It's like literally, it's like playing chess and TSM has king pieces. You know what I mean? When the other team doesn't have king pieces. That are not chess, checkers. It's like they're playing checkers with king pieces. That's like how TSM is approaching this. All right, so let's go forward again. Like the fact that Bjergsen's actually going into Seraph's Embrace. He understands the utility power spike and the strength of their team. Don't like the fact that why are you investing resources into Cloud Drake? Now, we did talk about how Cloud Drake does benefit TSM, but it doesn't really benefit Team Liquid. Should Team Liquid invest resources to capture it when you look at their top lane and the fact that you're having Lolo shove the bottom lane into one of the carries for TSM? Absolutely not. TSM in this position actually wants bottom tier 1 turret to die. That way they have an easier time funneling in gold to one of the carries. The fact that they're investing any sort of ward control and vision anywhere onto the right-hand side of the river is pretty poor decision at the end of the day. And one of the ways that you have to look at it is that the Cloud Drake, while it is nice for TSM, it should be opportunistic. It should not be something that you proactively go out of your way to try to get, because these type of fights are just clown fiestas. This is just really sad. Okay. Really like the Quicksilver Sash from Bjergsen. Shuts down a lot of the playmaking potential that comes out of Team Liquid. Next Drake is Infernal. Now you have Bjergsen up in top lane. This is really good. You can just continue to funnel gold onto him, and you're keeping him in direct direct proximity to the Baron, which is the next major objective. Lorlo just fucking flashes away, and to some people this looks really silly, right? Why is Lorlo flashing? And it's because if you look at where Svenskeren is, he can't know that Rengar is not nearby. So he has to actually flash away. So credit to Lorlo, that's actually a really high level flash, and I really hope that no one criticized him for it, because that would be, I mean, that would just be showcasing ignorance. Because that's the exact type of play that TSM needs to actually make in order to open up the ability to crack the Red Varus. One of the things that you'll notice from TL's team composition is that because of how unnaturally fed Bjergsen is right now, they're actually granted a unnatural rotation, in the sense that they can actually just 1 parenthesis 3 1. And what I mean by the parenthesis is exactly what they're doing right here. So what I mean is that you can have Bjergsen be up and top, and then you can have 3 people be around here, and then you have 1 person in bottom. And this is a very interesting rotation, because what it ends up opening up is, because, again, Bjergsen is so unnaturally fed, he offers a much higher damage output, and he has a much higher amount of utility inside of his itemization. Okay, inside of the CDR, and inside of, obviously, the CC immunity, and obviously active once he gets the Seraph's Embrace, which he shouldn't be too far off. The other thing about this is that the trajectory for an Ash Arrow is going to be pretty straightforward in the event that they need it. It's going to be pretty simple to hit. So now Wild Turtle and co are actually able to use Svenskeren's On the Hunt active to force Team Liquid to actually hold their flanks in the backhand side of their jungle. This actually opens up the entire red-hand side jungle, and it enables Biofrost and Wild Turtle to go in, get vision control down, clear out all of the vision, and then go back into their 3-man mid while leaving Bjergsen up and top. Because the only way to actually kill Bjergsen at this point is to invest multiple people into killing him. But you're not going to be able to invest multiple people into killing him when you have a ward right here and a ward right here. But again, it ties into how fed Bjergsen is. Can't say the minion wave in bottom, but it's perhaps a mistake that Haunter's shoving it. Now you can begin to see one of the issues of TSM's team composition. Even though I think that they're all better players, it should be noted that TSM technically is on a clock, and it's on them to actually find a way to outplay. One of the other things that they could do is they could actually have Bjergsen go over to help Poppy, not just Svenskeren. Okay, when Team Liquid makes this mistake, when they actually back up all the way into mid lane, again, this is a pawn, this is a pawn. So what you want to do here now is you want to actually have Haunter move into mid, and then you want to have Haunter move backwards and block the oncoming minion wave, and basically make sure that Team Liquid can't escort their minion wave into mid tier 1, even though it would be highly unlikely that they would do that. So now you control this, you need to get a ward down in here, ward down up here, and then you need to move up, and then you just actually have Rengar hover somewhere in between here. You CS this minion wave, you crash it into the turret, you tank 2 shots until this minion wave arrives. Although actually I think this minion wave would arrive before you would even be forced to tank the turrets. Yes, it would. You would just have to clear the wave, and there would be a slight delay by about 2 seconds or 3 seconds, I think. And then from there, you just try to raise the top tier 2 turret, and then you fall back as a unit inside of the river and stuff, and now they're forced to go through the red side jungle, clear it out, and they can't go for a Baron Blitz, because again, Haunter's holding down everything right here. In the meanwhile, Lorlo probably doesn't actually come over with his team because of the way that TSM is actually rotating, and the fact that Lorlo doesn't actually have a proper flank teleport ward to make any sort of a play, come in from behind and get a flank. And what that ends up meaning is that Lorlo is most likely going to shove the bottom wave back into bottom lane turret, in which case TSM is able to funnel that gold into one of their carries. A very uncomfortable position for Team Liquid, but they're actually not out of it. This is a pretty standard situation to be in. They definitely don't need to be as far behind as they are right now, but it's not the end of the world. They can definitely still win this game because of their team composition. Red Varus is so broken. Need some water. Sorry. TSM's not making use of Bjergsen the way that they could be. I would actually like to see Svenskeren go Glass Cannon Rengar. Glass Cannon Rengar with Guardian Angel and Suicide and take down Piglet. Just literally go balls to the wall, fucking Suicide, and just delete Piglet. And then have Team Liquid fight TSM 4v4. Because that entire team composition falls apart without Varus. Okay, TSM, Wild Turtle, and Bifrost now are moving down to the bottom hand side of the map. This is fine because Team Liquid's late to respond, and you see that Bjergsen's in mid lane and he has his Ryze ultimate available. I actually don't know the name of the Ryze ultimate off the top of my head. So they're going to lose bottom tier 2 turret, and this is fine. This is very, very standard for red side Varus. This is the Red Varus gambit. But now you see how slow they are. Again, how are you letting this happen to you? Do you really think that they can push on? Absolutely not. Lorlo and Piglet, that's all you need to send here. Have Golden Glue and have Rainover stay in mid lane. And then what you end up doing is you force Bjergsen to back up, or you force Bjergsen to back up. No matter what, you deny the minion wave from coming in. Huh. Basic macro decisions. Don't worry, Saint's working on it. Took a little bit of turret damage, and now it's a little bit difficult to actually press forward. A lot of TL's macro is very slow and sluggish, which is very surprising when you're going to try to pilot one of the most complex red side comps. I mean, the composition needs to be played anyway because of just how innately fucking broken it is, but what the fuck are you doing? Okay, TSM doesn't even need to fight you here, but of course we do, because this is NA. Alright, good. We're just gonna watch the fight first. We're just gonna watch the fight. TSM don't need to do this. Support good roll. Alright, so let's talk about a few things. Number one, at the conclusion of this fight, look at the summoners for TL, look at the summoners for TSM. Alright, 3 flashes conserved, 1 flash conserved for Team Liquid. Alright, now the other thing here is who the flashes are actually on. They're on the primary carries and the primary engage tool. So right here, let's talk about why this is a terrible macro decision, and I don't know what they're trying to base it off. I think that what they're trying to do is like Wild Turtle recalled, let's go for this Baron Blitz. But Piglet doesn't actually have that much mana. And so they're starting to go for the... Now, I will say that this is acceptable if you have double Mountain Drake. I think that only with double Mountain Drake would this be an acceptable play. And the way that you have to have Matt position is extremely different because Matt ends up needing to be a sacrifice. He needs to place down the Voidlings, do the Q, do the E, and then he needs to zone someone out and just sacrifice himself, pressing R and then exhausting one of the oncoming members. You get the Baron and you back up and you blitz out. And from there, what ends up happening next is you just basically glide it out and Baron's removed from the game. Because this is basically going to be a game where you're looking at 3 to 4 Barons, just because of the team compositions. So TSM don't need to fight this from this point. What TSM can actually do here is they can have Svenskeren and they can have Haunter dance. They can have Bifrost move up a little bit more, dance. Have Bjergsen move up to Haunter, dance. And then after this, you can actually have Wild Turtle go like this, boom. And then what ends up happening is because they're all funneled into the river, this is a common punish that I often talk about inside of Dragon when a minion wave is uniting in mid lane and mid tier 1 turret is up and the enemy team funnels too deep into the river. And then, you know, you have the team just go like this. Zone out, back, fall through, wards. So now what TSM can do is Bjergsen moves up, Haunter just stands his ground, dances, Bifrost moves up a little bit, dances in case he needs to place down the Zyra ultimate. They have Svenskaren over here in the event that anything gets too chaotic, and Baron's too high of HP. From here, again, you have Wild Turtle go like this, you have him go into mid lane, now you have Biofrost, Bjergsen, Haunter, and Svenskaren, you have Svenskaren go like this, and maybe you have Svenskaren follow them a little bit, okay? And then after you have him follow them a little bit, Biofrost, Haunter, and Bjergsen move through the red side jungle where this team is going to be going like this, and it doesn't matter because Wild Turtle gets into mid lane, and now they're forced to come into mid lane like this, and thus they're now funneled into being forced to defend mid lane turret, and you just came off of a recall for Wild Turtle, whereas Piglet and others actually need a recall. What this is going to end up doing as well is their resource investment into the left-hand side river is also going to be in vain, as now Biofrost and the rest of TSM has initiative over their own red side jungle, and now if you look at bottom lane, if you look at the fact that Dragon's coming up in 30 seconds, what this ends up meaning is that if TSM does the rotation onto mid lane, forces Team Liquid to actually funnel, Piglet doesn't actually have the luxury of being able to recall, so he's actually going to be And from this point, you have absolutely no devotion to the right-hand side of the map. It is irrelevant that you have teleport up on Lorlo, and now TSM actually just moves backwards with a few of the members, and they burst the Infernal Drake while keeping one member in mid lane to dissuade any sort of future Baron attempts. And that's pretty much it. They don't need to do any of this. Since Karen walked too far forward, and Matt pulled the trigger with his ultimate. And I mean, we can talk about engagement tools, obviously. Like, Team Liquid can actually, they can go for an all-in engagement, but the problem with Team Liquid going for an all-in engagement there is extremely high variance, because if they lose this fight, then it's an absolute disaster for their team, because it also means that they're going to concede 2 lane positions, and they're going to concede Infernal Drake, and then depending on which members end up living, they're also going to concede a turret. Svenskaren walked too far forward, so did Haunter. Didn't need ult. Bifrost late on his ult. Bifrost late on his ult because they didn't posture correctly. Bjergsen ends up getting caught out of position. Bjergsen goes to trade with Matt. Matt flashes away. Doesn't even matter. He lights him up. Piglet almost able to actually take down Bjergsen. Piglet juked. If Piglet doesn't juke that, I think that he dies sooner. But I think that Lorlo is still able to pick up Bjergsen. I don't even almost want to rewind. Wait. I don't want to rewind, but wait. Yeah, Piglet will definitely die sooner, but it's not the end of the world. Okay. So now let's go into the normal game. So they got Infernal. Alright, so let's see the disaster that is the follow-up macro plays. Okay. Good. So Team Liquid is now moving into River, even though they're not allowed to move into River. Nope. See this concave? This is not Red Varus. You need to hold a phalanx. If you do not hold the phalanx and then kite through this corridor, you will lose the game if you ever try to fight in a concave. You just can't do it. It is such a poor decision. You deserve to lose the game right here. Yep, that should be Baron. That should actually be Baron. Unless Reignover gets a godlike steal. And turn. No! Wait, what? Haunter? What the fuck? That is the latest ultimate in the world. Oh my god, that's the easiest Baron on the entire planet. That is the easiest Baron on the entire planet. Haunter botched this. Zyra plant's too good. Support, nice roll. Support in 2017, lol. Does Lolo actually kill Haunter? Oh my god, no way. Holy shit, that's an angry cat. Lolo actually kills him too. Oh my god. Alright. Haunter botched that. Oh no. Oh no, Team Liquid gets Baron. Oh my god, this is so bad. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. They lock him down. I mean, him trading himself for Lorlo there is fine. No, 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 no. Piglet goes top. Piglet and Matt go top lane. Get Haunter's teleport, because he might do it to try to save the turret, because that's a big mistake. No, don't recall. Ah, fuck, man. You're under absolutely zero threat pressure. Haunter messed this up. They basically, all that they need to do here is actually funnel in, and then Haunter ults someone away. They get the Baron, and then they get out. And then after they get out, if Bjergsen is still relatively healthy, Bjergsen actually goes top lane. Wait a minute, does Bjergsen have ultimate? Wait, at this fight, does Bjergsen actually have ult? He does, he has ulti. All that they needed to do was have Haunter ult someone away, funnel into the Baron pit, Bjergsen casts his ultimate, kill the Baron, get out. You can even actually teleport everyone up to top lane, tap the minion wave, and then run that into the turret, and then use the Baron enhanced recall. And what that ends up doing is Team Liquid is actually unable to go into mid. Well, they could maybe send Golden Glue to mid lane to push in the wave and then try to raise the turret, but that's not really going to matter, because what's going to end up happening is this minion wave and the incoming minion wave is going to actually collide into mid tier 2. And then they can't make use of that lane, they can't make use of bottom lane, and it's going to come at the cost of top tier 2. We're still looking at a Varus stall though. So the game is by no means over, even if they do get the Baron. Oh, fuck. Some people are saying that Haunter needed to tank the Baron. No, he didn't. Bjergsen was more than healthy enough, and so was Svenskaren. Okay. So now, Reignover and Lorlo committing resources to trying to kill Haunter. Might actually end up being successful. Okay, Haunter ults him out of the air. Pretty good. And at the end of the day, they use 2 ultimates, and they don't kill Haunter, but they do get Haunter's ultimate. Meanwhile, Bifrost decides that it's a good idea, and important apparently, to try to get vision control in on Wolves, even though they're facing off against a Baron enhanced team, and you had Bjergsen split pushing in bottom lane. There's no reason to be getting those kind of words when Bjergsen obviously demands someone's attention, and you knew exactly where Nautilus and Kha'Zix were. And now they're having an extremely high variance team fight. We don't need to watch this fight. Now they rotate everyone up to top. What the fuck? What are you handshaking? Wait, do they have Baron enhanced recall? Is that Baron enhanced? Okay, it is. Okay. Alright, never mind. Sorry. Wait, what? Was that not Baron enhanced? Wait a minute. What the hell's going on? I can't tell. God damn it, I can't tell. Nonetheless, it ends up being okay. Okay, it was Baron enhanced recall. Okay. Alright. Now all that they need to do... Lorlo, do you not want the bonus gold for proximity? I guess he's thinking that Ryze is coming up. Let's ask, hypothetically, what happens here if Lorlo goes down to Ryze? Nothing. If they actually use the Ryze ultimate to kill Lorlo right here, nothing happens. It would be better for Lorlo to actually kill the tower, get the proximity gold, CS the wave, get the experience, and then actually waste Ryze and Ash's time or whoever comes, because Ryze can't do it on his own. And what I mean by that is Lorlo kills the tower, moves down, run, die. Because then from this position, obviously you know that Cassiopeia and Piglet are able to stall out bottom and mid wave. And now you know that there's no wave coming up top lane because the next wave hasn't even left the Nexus. In which case you know that the only option for TSM is to actually capture the Cloud Drake, which they're going to do anyway because they're in position to do so, and you have absolutely no incentive to capture the Cloud Drake because your team cannot guarantee that they are in position to actually handle the next upcoming Elder Drake. So, should have just wasted his time and sacrificed his own life, especially because he doesn't have Guardian Angel yet. If he had Guardian Angel and it was active, then I can understand him trying to conserve his life, because obviously that's a very important active to lose out on, especially because it would play a part in the upcoming Baron. Team Liquid actually killed Cloud Drake. Very big fundamental error. Cloud Drake does nothing for Team Liquid. It does absolutely nothing. In fact, they cannot guarantee that they are in position to capture the Elder Drake. Why are you enabling Elder Drake to come onto the map? Why? Red side Varus is weak at penetrating Elder. It's extremely vulnerable at penetrating Elder. Especially, and the reason that it's so weak at penetrating Elder is because it has to hold the phalanx. And to hold the phalanx requires proper vision control. Well, it's hard to do proper vision control when Reignover goes Red Smite. You don't have the coverage for it. Excellent play by Bjergsen and TSM. This is an excellent fucking punish. That's a fantastic punish. They literally, let's see if they could have done anything better. Let's try to refine it. Let's try to refine it. Could they have done anything better here? Mid lane is perfect, bottom lane is perfect. This is all perfect. This is a perfect rotation. This is an absolutely perfect rotation. The only thing that maybe you can argue is that you could have had Haunter actually run down to mid sooner. That's such a minuscule. It is a refinement, but it's so minor that it doesn't matter. Nope, you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight. You don't have to fight. You don't need to fight. They can't win in open engagement. They cannot win if their team is forced to concave. They need to hold their turtle. They have to stay together as a big, giant fucking circular turtle. Interesting. I wonder if Omwrecker on Poppy would be correct here, actually. The more that I think about it, I'm wondering, Omwrecker versus Red Varus stall. They don't need it because they already cracked. It's already exposed. The heart is already exposed. They took out one of the ribs. Well, they took out a few of the ribs, opening up this inhibitor. So the Red Varus is already on basically its last leg. But I'm saying if the turret wasn't down, I'm curious if a 6th item Omwrecker would be an answer to a Red Varus stall. Okay. This is all fine. Elder Drake is TSM's ticket to victory because Team Liquid cannot maintain vision control over both sides of the jungle, and Team Liquid's team composition does not have a very easy time at breaking into blue side river. It's just not possible. Varus's utility is significantly gutted on that side of the map. Yep. And now it's a tug of war. What is the response? This is hard as shit. This is hard. Now, see, these are the spots that get hard for me. I have to like try to entertain so many variables. So look, if they go 5 mid, they can't handshake that. And the reason that they can't handshake it is because the missing inhibitor in top lane is actually too difficult for Team Liquid to handle at this point in time. They need more items. They need more items, or they need Lure Loto have a ZZ Rot portal, because that also enables them to maintain their flanks. It enables them to maintain it a little bit stronger. He can go ZZ Rot. It's not completely necessary. So if they go mid lane and they handshake that, then TSM will raise that inhibitor, depending on if they use the Ryze ultimate. If they use the Ryze ultimate, then they probably kill it around 401 or 402. 401 or 402, maybe 404. Or Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry. God, I'm not speaking. 3704. 3704. And if that's the case, then Team Liquid actually can't get a minion wave into mid lane, so it doesn't matter anyway. So the options that I'm thinking about is they could actually go for a gambit. And the gambit that they can go for is if TSM actually does commit to the top lane inhibitor, you can notice how there's no minion waves, and it's not like Bjergsen's going to be able to get into range to actually ult the minion waves with this, so that they could actually press onto the Nexus turrets. One of the things that they could do here is they could actually move through the jungle and then cut into Baron. And if TSM actually committed to the inhibitor, I think that they have the ability to actually burst it at this point in the game. So if they burst the Baron, Baron enhance recall, and then this minion wave is right here, you bounce it back, and this actually gives you an opportunity and an opening to fight back against the Elder Dragon because you have teleport up on Lorlo. And as long as you hold the teleport up on Lorlo and you have him just hold down this, now you can actually begin to move into the blue side jungle holding the Phalanx. I think that is Team Liquid's best macro option. I think that Team Liquid needs to go for that gambit. I know that they have no Mountain Drake, but they essentially, I mean, they almost have a full item Cassiopeia. They have a full item Cassiopeia. Varus is almost full item. I mean, Varus is about to have Mirror Mana. I was actually surprised that Piglet doesn't have it already. It's actually really surprising. It's on the assumption that TSM uses the Ryze ultimate, because if TSM doesn't use the Ryze ultimate, things get really fucking ugly. Some people are saying, well, that's what I'm saying. It depends on if TSM uses the Ryze ultimate. If TSM doesn't use the Ryze ultimate, then the decision from Team Liquid actually just has to be to run like this. And then they need to try to hold a Phalanx here or here, and then maybe try to take a team fight. I think that's their only option. They don't even entertain the Baron Blitz. They don't even entertain it. It's so sad. And it doesn't look like TSM is actually going to elect to use the Ryze ultimate. Really like what Haunter's doing right now. You can see that TL is holding that defensive turtle. So he's not using it, and now they ult into Baron, and they go for a Baron Blitz. Wow. I have never seen someone say no so willingly. TL saying no and yes at the same time. It is so beautiful, actually. This may very well be the best macro play I have ever seen out of a North American region, and maybe even, like, it's definitely in my top 5s. That is, holy shit. I mean, we know that it's a possibility and that TL just doesn't react to it. But I mean, to react to it requires such a fucking understanding. I guess when they begin to back off, what you have to do is you have to just keep Piglet exactly where he is. And then if you keep Piglet where he is, then you just have to begin moving them actually down to Baron, because even if you can't get the Baron and they don't go for the Baron, then you can unite with the mid-minion wave and actually keep the lane dark. That way you're attacking Baron without attacking Baron. Holy shit. Yeah, having Golden Glue go up is the big mistake. If it's just Piglet, then I just don't think they can get there. No, they can't. They can't. This is literally, it's over. So let's see where holy shit. This is interesting. This is the mental like sex that I like live for in League. Oh my god. TL is literally saying no and yes at the same time. TSM's like, I'm just gonna put this in this hole right here. And TL's like, no, but they're smiling as they say it, you know? Like, they just have to take it. They need to accept it. So if Team Liquid goes over to the Baron, I mean, they're all fucking warded. So if they go over to the Baron, then TSM blitzes the minion wave. Team Liquid starts Baron now. But where does Bjergsen ult in? I think they can go for a loop-de-loop. I think that TL's only out here is the Baron Gambit, and then it heavily depends on how TSM reacts. Their only option here is the Baron Gambit. There is no other play. This is sort of like when you're down like 4 points in chess or something and like you fucking input the position of the board into a computer and it tells you to fucking sacrifice the queen and you're like, well, you know, like if you say so. No, they don't lose Nexus turret. Let's take a look at it. This is so fucking interesting. I do have to go. This is such a beautiful play. Let's see, where does it start? It starts here. They have to. They have to go for the Gambit. Okay. Bifrost has no Sightstone. They have to know that there's no wards, actually. They have to go for the Baron Gambit. So what they have to do right here is they need to all move up like this. And then right when they get to here, break. And then you have to go for Baron. And then what ends up happening is, what ends up occurring is TSM does one of two things. It's so difficult to react to. It's actually so difficult to react to. So they go for the Baron, TSM turns around. Okay, but TSM doesn't turn around until they eat this minion wave. So now the question is does Bjergsen ult his team into this position? Well, if Bjergsen ults his team into this position, does it mean they can stop the Baron? This is such an awkward, and it basically comes down to how does Team Liquid and TSM react and how decisive are they in their choices. And so basically the loop-de-loop that I'm talking about is, let's say that TSM realizes that they're actually going for the Baron, and they just end up having one person eat this wave, and then the rest turn around. What ends up happening now is Team Liquid goes for the loop-de-loop. I think that's their only play. It's a Baron Gambit. They don't need to necessarily secure the Baron, but they need to use the Baron to fork TSM. Does Biofrost have charges? Oh shit, he does. I couldn't see that. I'm sorry. He has two, never mind. Okay. No, they need to Baron Gambit. Okay, that's their only play here. There's no other play. I would be so thoroughly impressed if anyone can come up with an alternative play. Because I think that's the only one. I legitimately think that's the only one. And the way that they also need to do this is they need to make sure... Okay, well, Blasting Plant is gone. They had to clear the Blasting Plant out. Because then what they can actually do is they can use this as a choke point if TSM tries to funnel their way in. Because one of the options might actually be to have Poppy go for a flank. And then TSM maybe willingly handshakes the fight. That can get very fucking dangerous because of mid lane's position at that time. So if Team Liquid somehow comes out ahead on the fight, they're going to be able to actually fix their top lane. They're going to get Baron. They can fix mid lane, raise mid tier 2. And then they're also probably going to be able to fix bottom lane as well. And then they're going to be able to prep for Elder Drake. They can't do that, TSM. No, stop. Just stop. You don't get how the teams... You don't get how strong Team Liquid's team composition is if it's inside of a phalanx. You just don't understand that. It is not as simple as TSM just engage on them. It is too awkward given the terrain of the map and the angle of approach that TSM is forced to take. It is not as simple as you're making it sound. And in the heat of the moment, when such a tense play is presenting itself, you're going to have, you know, human emotion. Oh, did I just skip over Baron? Oh, no. So TSM got it. Alright. It's not Elder Drake's coming up. They're not in position. And this is actually exactly why Team Liquid did not want to kill that Cloud Drake. They did not want to get that Cloud Dragon because it would have delayed this exact scenario that they're in right now. It would have prevented this. Let's just try to move forward a little bit. Team Liquid calls down a teleport and they're going for an all-in Elder Drake attempt. Okay. Whoa, what the fuck is... Wait a minute, hold the fucking phone. What is going on? Hold on, I need to watch this in full. Alright, hold on. They got their way inside of the base. Svenskeren went down. Elder Dragon coming up in 32 seconds. Baron enhanced minions. You could just use Svenskeren's ultimate to basically force them to back up and hold a concave and hold a turtle. You have bottom lane shoving. You have Elder coming up in 30 seconds, and you didn't tap this minion wave in. And you have a Ryze, which means that you can do the 2-0-3. So right here, this is an opportunity for TSM to enter into the 2-0-3. Neglect mid inhibitor, it's irrelevant. So you have Poppy, and then you have Haunter. Normally, this is only actually done against turrets, but now you can use Bjergsen's ultimate. You have Ryze and you have Poppy. Now you can use Bjergsen's ultimate to bring Haunter down to the Baron or the Elder Drake. But this is basically the same type of macro stuff that I talk about all the time. Is they're voluntarily taking less optimal macro plays. And it just doesn't make any sense. So okay, Svenskeren goes down, and that leads to their ability to actually go for the burst, and that's fine. Don't necessarily like the Maw of Malmortius. It's not super bad, but I think that Quicksilver Sash is better. Because all that he needs to do is get onto Piglet or Golden Glue and delete them. Any deletion at this point in the game is going to be fine. I don't think that the Hex Shrinker is that big. Maybe he's valuing the cooldown reduction from it, in which case that would be able to be fixed via runes. Ash Arrow missed, and now they get Elder Drake. Svenskeren arrives to the fight, but the problem is that they're fighting against Elder Drake. Yep, and now this is good. I also want to point out how when they actually go for, let's go back a little bit. When they're starting the Elder Drake. So let's talk about what ends up happening here when they go for the burst on Elder Drake. You see bottom wave. Now we know that they can't make use of that because they don't have Baron enhanced minions. They just used the teleport on Lorlo. Okay, and you see Haunter down in bottom. You can easily, okay, very easily have Ashe and Zyra come in here, okay? And then you have Bjergsen and Haunter actually go for top inhibitor, and you just have Wild Turtle and Biofrost stall. It's not even necessarily a stall, it's just to prevent recalls. And then you have them take top inhibitor, and then you have them back up, clear the waves, and then Team Liquid has absolutely nothing. Going for the Baron fight itself is pretty poor, even though Svenskeren was on the way. Really, really, really fucking like how quick Bjergsen actually backs up and knows to go for his ultimate play. You can see Poppy now down in bottom, but it doesn't really matter. They even have the Baron enhanced minions as well. Yeah, and they're just shredding the turret. You can see Matt is running back to the base. Nice teleport by Haunter. And what, they end the game like this? Good job. Excellent Ryze ultimates. Excellent Ryze ultimates. Now, the fight that ends up occurring actually funnels Team Liquid into a position where they end up actually botching it. So let's just watch the fight one more time. So we see this. So Golden Glue has ult. They actually get flanked by Poppy. And that doesn't, you know, they dodge the Ashe arrow, and you can see that Haunter is going for his ultimate. And they didn't stay on the Elder Drake. So they don't stay on the Elder Drake. Golden Glue's positioning here is suboptimal. But it's basically because he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, because how do you really ultimate? Well, I think that the thing that you actually need to do here is Golden Glue needs to be further forward, and they need to actually capitalize on their flashes being up. So I think if Golden Glue actually goes forward with Lorlo, and they actually just delete Biofrost immediately from the fight before Biofrost can cast his ultimate, it's actually irrelevant what Haunter ends up doing. You secure the Elder Drake, and then from there Wild Turtle and Bjergsen are obviously going to dish out a lot of damage, but Matt should actually be able to lock someone up. In the event that you do kill Biofrost and Svenskeren is not yet here yet, and you know that Haunter is basically inside the very back end of your team and you have Elder Drake, what's going to end up happening is Bjergsen and Wild Turtle actually have to kite backwards. They can't just stand stationary and try to unload everything all onto TL's team composition, despite the fact that they do have a Quicksilver stash. They have the Seraph's Embrace. And then Matt has one of two choices. He can press R on Wild Turtle or Bjergsen, although I didn't actually take a peek if Wild Turtle has QSS. If he presses it on Bjergsen, then Bjergsen's just going to get free. So what they should actually do there is zone Wild Turtle and Bjergsen off, and then pull Matt backwards, stand on top of the fruit plants, lock up Haunter, kill Haunter, and then back up and run immediately back to their base to prevent Bjergsen's ultimate attempt. Because Haunter's a pretty key part of the ultimate attempt as well as Svenskeren. And if you can get into this position and run up, yes, Bjergsen's going to be able to run up an ultimate, but the time in which he's going to do it is going to be delayed. And I think that that plays a very key part in their ability to actually get the Nexus here. Oh, there's no ult on Biofrost. Even more incentive to just delete him. Let's watch this. Biofrost should already be dead. Matt's gonna have ultimate during this fight. He has it. He should have it now. And you see how much damage Haunter was able to do, and this is primarily because Golden Glue's positioning was really bad, and he actually had to use Flash and Cleanse defensively. Yeah, this could have been played a lot better by Team Liquid on a mechanical front, and that was good by TSM. The Ryze ultimates from Bjergsen were some of the best things that I've ever seen in League, and especially out of NA. That definitely takes the cake for NA. So that is it for this VOD review.